Hey everyone, it's Tyler here, and today we need to talk about Andrei Jihk.
Hi, my name is Andrei Jihk. Hope you're doing good. Come for the finance and stay for the magic. It's gonna go because today we're talking about everything you need to know about Bitcoin and investing with peer-to-peer digital currency that is both immutable and decentralized.
Andrei Jihk. He's a popular finance YouTuber covering mainly stocks, economics, crypto, and personal finance. All well versed and coupled with high-level cinematography and, oddly enough, magic. That's right, Andrei is a wizard when it comes to fooling your eyes with a deck of cards. In fact, he was the man behind the magic of the famous card throwing scene in Now You See Me. But was it the magic and the editing skills that took Andrei from 0 to almost 1.5 million subscribers in just 2 years? Well, let's dig into it. Andrei's main content is personal finance education, on I would say a fairly beginner level. He has many videos on how to get started investing. Videos from investing your first $1,000, investing for teenagers, how to invest $1,000, and how many stocks to buy when getting started investing. He does a great job at making investing sound simple and motivates people to start with conservative investments. But there's a few things that he fails to tell you. Before we get started, I want to preface this that I 100% agree on how important it is to get started saving money and investing it. The sad truth about America is if you don't start investing in some kind of asset, you will be left behind over the long term. It's just the way the game works. Anyways, that's a topic for another time. But here's where I disagree with Andrei. He argues that a person should get started with investing a small amount of money in indices like the S&P 500 and a broad market index fund. Or if the person has any kind of investing background, handpick high-yielding dividend stocks like ExxonMobil, AT&T, Apple, or Johnson & Johnson. My argument is that if you're just getting started learning about investing and you have some money saved up, you have to get invested in real estate first. You will outpace any of your buddies investing in stocks, and you can laugh that all the way to the bank. Let me explain more. Let's run through a basic comparison of an index fund versus real estate to build a foundation for our argument. So let's look at a 5-year return outlook for our investment comparison. So here's your buddy. He's got $15,000 to invest. He's going to throw it in the S&P 500. Let's say he just gets 8% average return over 5 years. So he's going to have a little over $22,000 after 5 years. That's a 46.93% return. That's pretty good. All right, now let's look at the stock picker. So say you're Warren Buffett Jr. the second, whatever, really good at picking stocks, and you can get 15% year over year. And that's pretty dang good. I mean, Warren Buffett's returns like 17% over his career. So 15%, you're kicking it. All right, so you're going to have a little over $30,000 after 5 years. So that's just over 100% return in 5 years. That's pretty good for stocks. And this is no margin, obviously. This is just basic cash investment. So now here's you. You're going after real estate, man. So you have the same $15,000. You're going to buy a $300,000 house. Now this is a fixer-upper house. Let's say it's in a neighborhood about $400,000 to $500,000 average house. Structurally, the house is great. It just needs some basic repairs. It needs some carpet, paint, maybe cabinets need to be fixed up and painted, basic stuff like that. All this stuff you can do by yourself, guys. It's not that hard. So let's run through it. You're going to put 3.5% down. So that's $10,500. Let's throw in some fees. Let's just say $2,000 for fees. So total investment, you have $12.5K wrapped up into this thing. Now you're going to go get a 203K Rehab Loan. This is an FHA loan. A requirement is you need 3.5% equity in the property, which you're going to qualify because you put 3.5% down. Now you're going to finance $30,000 in repairs. This may not sound like a lot, but remember, you're going to be living in this thing. This is a primary residence. So this is all stuff you can do on the weekends, after work, whatever. Maybe one weekend you paint a bedroom, the next weekend you paint the cabinets. I mean, this isn't hard stuff. Then you can have some carpet put in through the week, whatever. You get the point. Let's keep going. So after the rehab value, or after the rehab's done, your value is $450K. So let's look at your equity now. So you're going to have a $290,000 liability. That's your initial loan in the property. You have your $10.5K in equity. That's what you put down. You have a $30,000 liability in your 203K rehab loan. You gained $150,000 in equity in the property, so you went from $300K to $450K. Now take out your liabilities. You have $130,000 in equity in the property. So you turned $115,000, or excuse me, not 115. You turned $15,000 into $130,000 in net equity. That's a 766% return. Now this isn't over 5 years. This is as soon as you get the renovations and the fix-up done. And I mean, this stuff's pretty basic, so you could probably get this done by yourself in, say, long-term, 6 months. Now, after 5 years, let's put on a 3.8% average price increase. That's a historical housing market appreciation over the long term. So in 5 years at 3.8%, now the property is worth $542,000. So your equity is $220,000. So you turned $15,000 into $222,000. That's a 1,380% return on this investment. So which would you rather have? 220K, or if you're a good stock picker, 30K? I see it all too often with my friends and family that try to start investing. They download Robinhood, they put in a few $1,000, and they hit the ground running like a horse coming out of the gate. They jump around, buying this and selling that, and end up losing money and settle on buying Apple for the long term until they have something new that comes up. Then they sell and jump all into that. Now, there's nothing wrong with some day trading. I enjoy doing it every once in a while when I see a good opportunity, but it's with a very small percentage of my portfolio. And it's more entertainment to me rather than trying to make a life-changing amount of money in just a few trades. It's also a great way to stay focused on the market and just learn the game. The big point here is save as much money as you can, figure out how long it's going to take you to pile up $10,000 to $20,000. If it's just a few years, then sure, buy stocks with your savings and benefit from the market gains over the years until you have enough for a 3.5% down payment. If you can, save the money in a relatively fast amount of time, put it in a place where you're not going to spend it, whether that's a savings account, sitting in an investment account as cash, or just under your bed. It doesn't matter. Just keep it and don't spend it. Once you have the cash, then get pre-approved and go hunting for your first real estate deal and make that
sweet equity.
Now you're probably thinking this guy is just another real estate guy on YouTube that disregards all the money to be made in the stock market and that real estate is the only way to go. Wrong. I actually started buying stocks when I first had money to invest. I followed the basic advice. I started a Roth IRA and funded it with a few $100s a month. I took pride in maxing out my IRA at 18 and 19 years old. I'd look at charts that told me how much money I would have in 30 years if I saved this much per month and blah, blah, blah. We've all heard it and we've all seen it. But then I educated myself on buying under market value real estate, fixing it up, and holding it as a long-term rental. I found that the return on net worth when you don't have a lot of money to your name is absurdly higher with real estate than stocks. You can start with $15,000, make $150,000 in net worth in a short amount of time, and pay $0 to do it in taxes. It's unbelievable. I firmly believe that everyone needs to get started investing in real estate. But where does stocks play a role in the big picture? I'll tell you what I'm doing, and you can take it for what it's worth. But I buy real estate when I have the money and I find the right deal. Very important. Don't buy a property just to say you're buying real estate. If you can't find a good deal, which currently it's getting increasingly harder to do so, I buy stocks. Now, if you're doing really well and you have a net worth of a few $1,000,000 or even more, you run into a different situation. The return on your net worth from doing another real estate deal starts to decrease. then you should consider a shift in your strategy and focus solely on stocks. I won't get too deep into this right now because, well, 99% of the people who watch this video aren't in that boat. The point here is, though, there is totally a place for stocks in a young person's journey to building wealth. But it's up to you to determine where your best return on net worth is. After all, that's the point of investing, to build wealth over the long term and achieve financial independence. Now, I want to circle back and clarify that I am a big fan of Andrei. He does a bang-up job on YouTube, and the YouTube finance space is a much better place with him being a part of it. There's just a much better way to build wealth quickly in real estate if you're willing to put in the time, learn the game, and execute at a calculated risk. Anyways, keep up the good work, Andrei, and learn some new magic tricks, would you? They're kind of getting a little weak. Anyways, in closure, my goal on YouTube is to practice what I preach and show you my experiences in building wealth and learning with full transparency. With that said, I'm currently working through a real estate deal, so stay tuned as I pull back the curtains and tell you all the details on the deal, how we found it, bought it, repaired it, and all the numbers behind it, so you can see for yourself how the headache of fixing toilets and painting walls is totally worth it. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.